Get this Okay, welcome back, everyone. Good to see you all again. We are here for our round two of our roundtable discussion, and today we're going to be talking all about neck braces. Because believe it or not, uh, for some reason, all neck braces are not created equal. So we're going to talk about which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones work well for others, and try and get as much knowledge as we possibly can for out there for everyone else. Good to have everyone back. Cori, Brooke, Lakyn, you guys did awesome last time. Let's have another fun chat, shall we?
Thanks for having us.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's start with Lakyn this time. So the first question for everyone, at what point did you realize you were going to have to be in a neck brace for a significant amount of time?
Yeah, just a couple months ago. I've only been in the neck brace maybe a little over 2 months now. But probably like a decade ago is when I started telling people that my head just felt like it was too heavy for my neck, and I'd never heard about any of this stuff before. But I like asked for neck braces. I went to CVS and bought one of the like soft collars, and I would wear it at my desk at work with like a giant scarf covering it, like just to get any kind of relief. So when my neurosurgeon a couple months ago was like, "Can you do a neck brace trial for me?" I was like, "Hell yes!" Like, thank you. Like, I am loving it so much.
Okay,
It's been the best.
cool. Cori, how about you?
Let's see. So I started using a neck brace around February of last year. But I still, like I'm a little different than these ladies. I try to actually not use it. And I'm not saying you guys want to use it, but I'm just saying I'm still fighting it a little bit. I wear it in the car, but I'm doing a little bit different method to try to stabilize. We're all at different points in the journey, so I think that's pretty cool actually to be able to share our different. I'm a little earlier on, I think, than they are. They're further down the road than me.
Okay, all right. And Brooke, how about yourself?
I think something I just want to point out with Cori is the earlier you can get diagnosed, the more you can stabilize through prevention methods, and that's ideal. So in my case, I was a workout fanatic, and so I had a very strong neck for a very long time, and that's what got me as far as it did. I had like a quick hard collapse in my neck, but my first symptoms started, oh man, probably when I was 8. I had a head injury straight on. You can see my scar from it. It was so hard, it left me colorblind. And that was my first head injury. The migraine started right around 10, 11. I was still in elementary school. I'd have to go home from the migraines. And then I had a severe neck injury at age 14 that left me with bulging disc and in the soft collar neck brace for a couple months. And that is when the fire in my neck just started. And it was a pain that never went away. Got so severe through pregnancy and postpartum that like I would have to hand my baby off because I just could not hold them. And nothing eased it. I tried physical therapy, I tried chiropractors, I tried all the things. And the doctors were just like, you just have permanent nerve damage. Yay. Side note, EDS, don't do chiropractor. Don't do chiropractor. You will be causing more damage long term. Had we known, I wouldn't have spent 7 years seeing a chiropractor. There are other ways to safely adjust your neck bones through gentle pressure. And so 2 years ago, last September 2019, I touched on it slightly in our first roundtable, but my neurological symptoms got very severe over a week, and I started to lose the feeling in my legs and my arms, and 2 days later, I stood up to walk and couldn't take a step. And by the end of that day, I could not move anything but my arms and my head with extreme pain. And I then lost my ability to talk for quite a few days. I could occasionally speak, and it was very slow and robotic. And bless the souls of the people who were patient enough to try and speak with me. I ended up overnighting myself a hard neck brace, and I could not regain proper robotic slow speech and movement in my legs until I was able to elevate my neck and separate slightly the vertebrae that was crunching and cutting off communication to my body. And over a couple days, I learned to walk with forearm crunches. As someone who I could not walk without forearm crunches aids, and I still could not feel my body below my chest, but I learned to walk. And I was in that position until I was able to have a fusion. So I'm a very severe case on the other end of the spectrum. I had no choice. Function with the pain, I had to have the neck brace. And not saying the neck brace took the pain away. I lived in a level 9 pain every single day. And migraines and sunglasses every single day for the 9 months leading up to my surgery. But because of my injuries, I have severe instability, and I don't have the option to be out of my neck brace, but I also do everything I can to keep strong neck muscles. My surgeon actually said he was very impressed with how strong my neck muscles were with surgery and after surgery. He said he's never seen someone come in with such strong neck muscles that has been in a neck brace. And so I think that's super key point is even in a neck brace, I do exercises to maintain neck strength and to activate the muscles that you would use to turn your head because they're important in stabilizing your neck.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. So, I mean, you basically had to like almost like self-diagnose yourself and get your own neck brace just to help you out. Like that's crazy. Um, Brooke, we'll start with you here. Just kind of go back in reverse order. What is the brace you have on now? Is that the only brace that you've worn? Have you tried others? And I would assume this one is the best option for you, correct?
Yeah, this is the best option for me. I researched braces that were good for subaxial instability, and that refers to everything below C4. So I have severe instability under the lower half of my neck up into my upper spine, which is referred to as your T-spine. My vertebrae are very collapsed, very worn down. When I went to turn my head, they would like shift completely off each other and grind. So, I, based off my research and the YouTube videos I found, this is the first neck brace I chose to use. And it was the one that I found fit me the best. I have really good friends that have tried multiple different neck braces, and some of them you have to go in and get like fitted to you because they don't adjust. And I found the adjustable one was really beneficial to me.
Mhm. Okay, good. So you never had to go to an orthotist for any reason for your neck brace?
But, and there's like a lot of reasons why I chose not to, but I was lucky enough to meet people through YouTube and stuff and find their Instagrams and reach out to them and ask them questions about the neck braces they had chosen and used and why they like different ones. Found research on why surgeons prefer other ones over other brands. And that led to me making the choice to use this one.
Okay. All right, good. And this is another reason why I'm glad we're doing this sort of thing, so that people who are watching can now understand what you guys all went through. So maybe it'll help them. So that's awesome. Now, Cori, I know you did a video on your YouTube channel comparing two different types of neck braces. I assume that is your neck brace history.
Yeah. So I have the same one that these ladies have. I also have the Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a video, you can see it on YouTube on the Unheard ones, kind of comparing the two, why I like certain aspects of one versus the other. But I have a lot of friends that use this one, the Aspen Vista, that absolutely love it. The one that my physical therapist recommended for me, her name is Susan Shalala. She works with Dr. Patel, one of the neurosurgeons that deals with CCI out of Charleston. And she recommended the other one for me and fitted me for it. And you can order it on Amazon too, though. It's not like you have to be fitted for any of these. But she did fit to make sure that it was right. She liked the other one better for my situation, because it's a little bit harder and more sturdy. So like a car, if I were to get in a car accident, and that's why I wear it every time I'm in the car. I can't drive because my neurological symptoms anymore, but that brace is really good in the car for like a little extra stabilization for my case. I think Brooke really touched on a good point, and I do want to say, like, it is important, since everybody presents differently with their neurological symptoms, because we are all unstable at certain levels. Not every brace is going to be right for every person. And so it's really kind of just a try and see thing. And then the other thing that Brooke also said, I do want to kind of touch on, that has nothing to do with this question, but I loved what she said, is stabilization of your interior neck muscles is crucial. Whether you're wearing a brace, whether you're fused, whether you're like me, that are just kind of, I've had the neck pain. It's like the worst crick in your neck you've ever had in your life that doesn't go away, that's there every day, and it's excruciating. We get these migraines that they can't be taken away by medication usually. They're just like the most intense things where you're just shaking in pain. So these kinds of things, but fortunately I caught this early from me, that now versus a brace. So, like I said, I wear the braces, but I am doing physical therapy with Susan Shalala. She actually has EDS herself. She's a stroke survivor. She's avoided fusion because of the physical therapy that she implements. And so I've been working with her for almost a year now, and she's keeping me out of the surgery office. Dr. Patel told me, he's like, you do not want this fusion. You do not want this. Nobody wants this. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do? And he's like, you caught it early. This is why, Richard, what you're doing is so awesome, raising awareness so people can catch it early, so they can, hopefully just supplement with a neck brace and do the physical therapy and not have to go through that fusion, because it's a hell of a surgery that you do not want this surgery.
That makes total sense. And I know, Lakyn, you said you've only been in one for a few months, but I assume that the Vista is really the only one you've tried, and I assume it's working well for you?
Yeah, this one was prescribed by my neurosurgeon because my instability is pretty severe, and I won't be getting a fusion until December. So yeah, he prescribed it, and then I went to a hanger clinic to have it fitted. My experience was, I don't think they fitted it right. So yeah, I'm in the Aspen Vista TX, and it has this button here where you can like raise it up and down, and then you can, Brooke did at the beginning, like make it tighter. So it theoretically should fit any neck, or some of the other ones they've mentioned, like the Miami J is another popular one. There are different kinds for, like, if you have a long neck or a short neck. This one should fit anyone. But they fitted it a little bit down. And so for a couple of weeks, it was just so uncomfortable. It made me feel worse. And my physical therapist then fitted it a little bit higher. And it's been much better since then. I think it could go even higher. Like, my neck's just really long. I think if it went up higher, it would be even better. But yeah, this is the only one I've been in. And I think, like Brooke said, it works really well for our situations. Seem pretty similar, but besides the high instability, like C1, 2, and my skull, my instability is lower, like C5 and 6, and down a little bit further. So it seems to work pretty well for that. My only complaint, and I did a video on this, is that it's really, really bad for TMJ. And if you like look at my face, you can see my jaw's deformed on this side. It's so bad for my jaw. I've been like crying in pain sometimes. So I think I've gotten used to that. But I have heard that the Miami J brace is a little bit better for if you have jaw issues. It seems to not go up so high on the sides. So that's definitely something to consider if you also have jaw pain when you're trying to wear a neck brace, because it's just constant upward force of your jaw.
Are you trying to get, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I just add something real fast to that?
Go for it, yeah.
So we joke that I have a giraffe neck. It's so skinny, but it's so long. And so they have you get fitted laying down and adjust it. But the truth is you're in a different position laying down, sitting, and standing. And so I think it's important that you know your body best. And I'm all the way up.
Same. And it still could go more.
And I feel like most days it could still go higher.
Yeah.
But my neck is so skinny, it's like I could use a kid size brace, but an extended adult size brace. But she made a very good point. Like most neck braces, especially if they're adjustable, they're adjusting from here. So you're actually getting the adjustment up against your jaw and not in your spine. And so they've suggested I go to a chest neck brace because my instability is dropping so low. It's dropping mid shoulder blade that I can actually get the proper adjustment and elevation through my spine instead of my jaw, where I've had TMJ my whole life and it makes it worse. And then quickly to touch on what Cori said, like my oldest son already has C1 and C2 problems without any type of injury. And we just got him starting physical therapy. And there are so many benefits of that I'm really confident that we'll be able to prevent a fusion for him, getting him targeted at 9 in his physical therapy.
It's so important because I would have lived my life differently. Like I did competitive cheerleading and gymnastics for years. I had a horrible neck injury in high school. Like I had no idea that this was a thing, much less that I had it. So this early diagnosis really is crucial because like my child, I will raise in a way that, it's just so important to get diagnosed early so we can do things to prevent that.
Okay. All right.
And
cool.
can I say one more thing too? Sorry, there's a lot of info here. Yes, early diagnosis, but also if you, I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people think that they contradict this, but I am going to say this. I personally believe that if you have EDS, going to a chiropractor is very damaging. I went to a chiropractor when I was first diagnosed with dysautonomia because he said, I had dysautonomia too, and I healed it. And I was just so desperate to like do whatever it took, like I'm an athlete. I was a cheerleader. I was a swimmer. Like I will put in the work. You tell me what to do. But I want to say chiropractors are great for normal people. EDS, especially with CCI, and I'm so adamant on this, one little click of your neck could kill you.
Absolutely.
If you go to a chiropractor. So anybody listening, if you're going to a chiropractor, I beg you, please reevaluate that situation because there are people that have died on the table that didn't even know they have CCI. So if you have EDS or suspect you do, stop chiropractic care, go to a physical therapist. That's going to be your best bet, not chiropractics. I did want to say that.
100%. Yeah. I mean, not to make this about that, but when I had my bad neck injury, my doctor prescribed me to go to the chiropractor. So, I mean, if your doctor tells you to do something, it's obviously fine, right? And I spent over a decade going, and I'm just like thankful that I literally didn't die in the 10-15 years I spent getting adjustments. It's so dangerous. I don't care if your doctor tells you to do it, you need to go to a specialist, a physical therapist. It's so dangerous.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned that right at the beginning of the Zoom, how dangerous that was, and it's a miracle I didn't die or become paralyzed. It's also a miracle I didn't become paralyzed in childbirth. But my son that I just mentioned who has problems, he was referred to a chiropractor at age 5, and he went to a chiropractor for a year. And I can't help but think maybe it triggered him having these problems so young. You can't say what if, you can't play that game, but when I hear people who have EDS that are like, oh yeah, the chiropractor's helping me so much, I just there's a better way. You might be having instant relief, but you have to have a long-term picture in mind. You always have to think long-term quality of health.
Very cool
100%.
stuff. Very good. Very good stuff, ladies. I'm liking this. We're touching on a lot of bases here today. I love it. Very good stuff. So, Brooke, I know you mentioned a little earlier that you said that you might be having to go to like a chest extension with your neck brace. Now, I know it's the case for some other people who suffer from EDS and CCI and other things as well. Is that because their stability, they're much less stable further down their spine? Is that why that's the case?
Yeah, those who are being told that the CT junction or below, we actually discovered that my T1 is 45-degree angle and not straight. So if you're like this, my T1 is like this. And twisted. And then I go back and so my instability has gotten so severe through my upper back. And honestly, it's probably related to pregnancies. And I'm sure we'll touch on pregnancies, to touch on, but those who are being suggested to have those corset braces, essentially it's a non-surgical halo. It gives you the chance to kind of see how that would benefit you, and the relief you would have to kind of preview life like that. But again, it's not something they want you in 24/7. It's meant to be used on really severe days, and as any brace should be. The point is to stabilize when absolutely necessary, but strengthen to avoid brace use on a daily basis. People obviously in a severe case, they don't have that option. One reason I'm really fighting it and hesitant to it is my concern that I'm going to be put in it, I'm going to have the relief, and when I go to take it off the next day, I'm going to collapse too quickly, which is the case with every time I'm in a brace for my spine instability. I get put into a proper extension, and then as soon as the brace is removed, I don't collapse slowly. I collapse hard and fast, and I'm out, and I can't even function. Most days, I won't even be able to roll over without assistance. And so I'm really fighting the idea of that, but really also fighting the pain that comes from not getting it done and not having the proper extension in my back. You do have to go get fitted for those. Mm-hmm. There are a couple brands that are most commonly used, but you have them. So I just cannot keep putting off that appointment, and I'm trying other things in the process. I've used posture braces on and off for a couple years to try and help. And I recently just got another brace that is not actually meant for it. It's an elastic that's full back, goes down your arms.
Is it the body braid?
No, but I really want it.
I just got the body braid.
I was going to ask you because of one of your things. Okay. But It's just I'm probably going to do a post about it this week. But it definitely has relieved some of that pain in my CT junction, but it does not give, so it creates stability, but it does not create extension through it.
Okay. All right. So the next question here, whoever wants to jump out and answer it first is more than welcome to. And I'm sure this is something that you guys, again, you ladies all go through. Um, Wearing one in public has to be awkward at times, right? I'm sure you guys have questions all the time. Oh, what happened? Were you in a car accident? Like, again, this question for all those other people out there who I'm sure go through the same thing. Like, how do you deal with that almost unwanted attention that you get?
I feel like I was just in such bad pain, I didn't care. I mean, if I was going anywhere where, like if I was going to Walmart where, people went to high school might be, I'd be like, oh, I hope I don't see anyone. But I just, it makes me feel so a lot of stairs in public. I was down on the beach for a couple minutes this morning and I was like, man, you think people don't regularly see people in neck braces on the beach? But yeah, it just doesn't really about it. We're people who are also in neck braces, which I found really interesting. Every time somebody's asked me about it, they're like, yeah, I was in one of those for X, Y, and Z. So it's kind of this like weird little family that got created out of chaos and injury. But yeah, it's really nice getting to talk to people about it and their experiences with neck braces. I mean, it is a little bit unusual to be in a neck brace when it's not after like a car accident or some kind of trauma. So it's a little bit challenging maybe explaining that. I just tend to like tell people I have crappy genetics instead of getting into the weeds. But yeah, I've only had people who have been in a neck brace ask me about it, which is very weird.
Okay. All right.
I mean, for me, and like I say, I try to stay out of my neck brace as much as possible, but there's times where I'm extremely neurological and I have to wear it. Like I don't have a choice. Like I'm so out of it. So a lot of times that's at like a doctor's appointment. If I've had to be in the car for a minute, that really exacerbates me. And I love what you just said, Lakyn, that's such a great positive mindset on it. I love that. For me, it's usually like, it draws up not like embarrassment, but just like the reality of what's going on with me. And so I get super emotional. Like if I'm taking my daughter to a doctor's appointment, like she had to have an echo because, the EDS thing and everything. And I'm like leaned over, well, my neck's hurting. So I've got my neck brace on and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so young. What happened to you? And I'm like, whew. And I know nobody means anything mean. Like they're being so kind and concerned instead of like, what's wrong with you? Like their approach was perfect. But at the same time, it's like, oh, like it's like a pierce to my heart. Like, holy crap. I am so young. What's happened? And it's like, oh, what happened to me? And I think I have a really positive mentality, but sometimes having to actually like verbalize what it is that I have still is hard for me and makes me super emotional and like almost like re-grieving. We go through this like continual grieving process of losing pieces of ourselves. And everybody goes through that in life essentially, right? I mean, we're all like getting older. Nobody's getting younger that I know of. And if you are, give me that juice you're drinking. I want it. But like it's a facing, like when you lose somebody in life, when you have a death, you go through that first year of hardships of new normals. Well, we're constantly having to face new normals with a degenerative disease like this. And so it's just like a boom to me, does that describe it appropriately? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like really? Oh, dang. Right.
I totally
I don't know.
understand that. I think I come from a different perspective, being in the neck brace for 2 years and then also spending, the first 10 months with form crutches. So I have had definitely a different response from people. To begin with, like the very first time I was well enough to go out in public with my kids said, Mom, are you gonna wear that in public? And I was like, yeah, does that embarrass you? And they're like, people are gonna like look at you. And I was like, you know what? That's okay because everyone is different and it's okay to look different. And I think it's really special that I've been able to teach my kids that at such a age. They no longer look at like disabilities, they look at disabilities differently. And when they see someone like without a leg in a wheelchair, which they have seen recently and brought up, I said, they're different, just like mom is. And they use a wheelchair to help them live life, similar to how I have to wear a neck brace to live life. And I think it's just important that you're having those open conversations. And the interesting thing is I get a lot of stares, a lot. I don't always notice them anymore. To begin with, I definitely notice them. And they seem a lot more, I think maybe it's because people are coming out into public again from COVID. Like they seem a lot more intense again. Like people lost social skills. But some of my craziest stares come from adults. I have a lot of kids stop me. They're just innocent and they're like, why are you in a neck brace? And I just tell them, I have a condition that makes me need some help to hold my head up. And I keep it really simple like that. And if they have more questions, I try to just give them really simple answers. And I think I'm a lot more open to kids asking me because they're innocent. Adults quite often say the wrong thing without realizing it. And it's okay. But like when I'm at a work event and I get the same question about 100 times in 4 days, it's exhausting. When I get stopped at the store and people ask, I keep it really simple now after 2 years. I say, I was gifted with some really bad genetics. Oh, what are those? It's a connective tissue disorder. Oh, what is it? It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, also known by EDS. So are you always going to be in the neck brace? And I was like, for me, probably on and off my whole life, but hopefully for others not. And sometimes these questions are like never ending. And I've had to learn the skill of controlling the conversation a bit and ending it. But I mean, I get full on gawking, like by mothers at school. They're like walking past me in the hallway and they're like, and now that I've been able to learn how to drive again post-surgery, I have to drive in a neck brace. And there's no laws against that here in Utah. I've had plenty of cops see me and think nothing of it. But other people, when they notice me driving in a neck brace and they are driving, like they full on head turn, like, and stare at me. And I'm like, dude, like the street is like, look at the car in front of you.
Yeah, like you're gonna put yourself in a neck brace if you don't pay attention to the road. Yeah. Don't look at me.
Exactly.
Very good. I like that. All right. So
Sorry, I had two things from what you said. Today is the last day of Invisible Illness Week, and I think it's like a really interesting point with the neck brace because for my whole life I haven't felt good, but you couldn't tell, like I looked fine. So this is the first period in my life where my illness isn't invisible anymore, and it has been very interesting. Like people are kind to me. People offer to put my groceries in my car. People like give me different looks when I'm fighting a screaming toddler than when I don't have a neck brace on. So it's been really, really interesting to kind of venture into this visible illness phase. And I think something Brooke said about our kids is just so special. Like all of us are moms. And it's I think it's actually been kind of a gift to teach my daughter these lessons. Like, she's 2 and she thinks nothing of it. Like, the other day she wrapped a scarf around a baby doll's neck and it was in a neck brace like mommy. And I heard her cooking in her kitchen and she's cooking up spinal fluid. Like, why would only our kids would know about these things. So it's just a neat gift. Like, we saw somebody in a wheelchair the other day and she was like, oh, she must not feel good because she knows mommy uses a wheelchair when I don't feel good. So it's kind of a nice gift in like acceptance that we get to teach our kids.
That's really cool.
I just want to tag on one thing. I know Richard's like, but
No, you're
I
good. You're good. You're
too.
good.
On top of what you're saying, Lakyn, about the kids, one of my friends sent something. So all you parents with little kids out there that have dolls, Target has these little sets that have neck braces, arm braces, all the things. I bought one for my daughter. Yes. And my daughter loves it because she's a little zebra. So it's normalizing all of this for her. And so if and when she ever gets to this position in her life, I mean, she's already seen mommy go through it, but she's played with it with her dolls. And it's a really cool thing for kids, whether they are able-bodied or not, to understand that this is normal and it's okay. And these people are people too. And even my dolls can have a neck brace. So I think it's super cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Really cool stuff. So I think we have time for one final question for everyone. So this one is for all those future patients out there, future EDS kids, who just found out they may have to wear a neck brace. I want you ladies to give them, I guess, some words of encouragement for those girls. What are some things you would tell them to make it a little easier on them?
Yeah, I mean, something I wanted to touch on, I feel like this fits really well there, is I got put in the neck brace because my instability was dangerous, but also I think as kind of a trial to see, you know, when my neck is stabilized, as it will be with a fusion, kind of what does life look like for me. And I've been in it for several months now. At the beginning, like I mentioned, it was really rough. I felt very uncomfortable. My muscles hurt so bad. I couldn't tolerate being in it super long. Now I literally cannot be out of it for a second. Like Brooke said, if I take it off, I am instantly like throwing up in pain. It's bad. And I say stick through the beginning when it's rough, because it has been night and day for me. Like my neck, which has been chronically painful for decades, I don't have neck pain. Like to the point where I'm like, did I make it up? Like, did I ever have neck pain? And then my muscles all throughout, like my neck, my shoulders, my back are always in constant knots. They're so painful. I don't have muscle pain. My neurological symptoms, like Cori's been mentioning, have decreased a lot. Like I didn't have feeling in my arms, my face, my legs. I can feel them again. So it's been really such a blessing for me. Hopefully, it is a little bit of a test run for the fusion, and those are some things that I can look forward to after the fusion. You know, a lot of my symptoms didn't go away. I still can barely stand up without falling over. I'm still having massive headaches. So there are some being rough, and hopefully you'll see some success like we all have from having them on.
Yeah, you know, I would say, since I'm not full-time in it, I would offer this to women and men, whoever, just in general. Society puts so much stigma on looks. I still am in the entertainment industry, and it's not even just hard there. It's hard everywhere. That's why people are constantly, you know, there's so much eating disorder pandemic or epidemics, not pandemic, epidemic going on. You know, there's women are constantly having to do things to their body. I know I got caught in that. Sorry, I know you've got a little one in there. I have some cosmetic surgery, which I wish I never did. The thing is you are wonderful. You are beautiful. You are in insane perfection. With illness, your perfection, exactly how you are. A brace is only going to enhance the perfection that you already are. So just know you're beautiful. A brace doesn't take away from that. It's only going to make you even more of a rock star than you already are. So embrace the brace. I'm trying to embrace the brace, and just walk with pride and confidence. And the people that might look at you differently, those people don't matter. And actually, as these other women were talking about, it could be a platform for you to help educate and raise awareness. So embrace the brace. That's all I got.
I've actually had multiple people reach out to me over the years about it. I've even had like significant others, boyfriends, husbands reach out to me and just say my wife or my girlfriend or whoever is really struggling being in the brace and they don't want to go out in public and they're scared of the stairs. And I just say, but does it help them? Does it help them? Does their quality of life depend on others' opinions or how others view them? Their self-worth doesn't come from what's on their neck. And I said, you know, one of the most important skills I think I've learned over the year is to say, oh, isn't that interesting? Not out of a judgment, but more out of like a curiosity. Like when they stare at you, when they ask a really awful question, like, oh, isn't that interesting? You know, everyone comes from different backgrounds and they make their perception of life differently. And you don't know that person's background and how that may make them perceive you differently. And that's okay. And when I want to be caught up in being upset about it, I just take a deep breath and I go, well, isn't that interesting? And just take another deep breath and move on, because their stare, their opinion, it doesn't change my value. It doesn't change my worth, and it doesn't change my quality of life. Where my brace does.
Love that.
Awesome.
Brooke, you're awesome. I love that. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Another thing I do want to point out, Cori, like you talk about your age, and I absolutely didn't believe you the first time you said you were 40. But EDS people are known for looking young. But I will say, I don't like to discuss my age, but I first went in my neck brace at 26. I'm only 28. And when I know people who like don't address it like the first time they see me, and they don't necessarily like follow me on social media or whatever, they don't usually ask me about my neck brace until they've seen me in it for like 2 months, and they're just like, we assumed you got like hurt or something, but we noticed like you're still in it. What happened? You know, and I really appreciate those people who don't start every conversation with it and who have known me a few months before they ask about it. But I get so many comments about how young I am and how sad it must be that I have to live my life in a neck brace, and I'm just like, yeah, and I mourn in cycles about it. But again, your opinion, your thoughts, I appreciate that you can feel sad with me, but most of the time I'm not sad about it. I rarely like mourn it anymore. And so I just go back to, you know, the deep breath. And isn't that interesting that they put so much of their value on what they can do and how busy they can be, which is such a common thing in society now. Yeah. And I think it's such a gift that we have to learn to slow down.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Well, ladies, that's all the questions I have for you. Are there any closing thoughts before we end this?
I do want to share my zebra, as I shared with all of you.
Absolutely.
My friend gifted this, and one of my other friends actually owns the Etsy shop, and she is just amazing in what she's doing. But when I saw this zebra, I literally cried because these little things mean so much to us. It's like the doll now that has the braces. Like we touched last time about how zebra is kind of our mascot, and then it has a neck brace. And I took this thigh all the way to Barcelona with me and hugged this little guy in recovery and my kids love him. And they're just like, "Mommy, it's like you." Um, I really appreciated it. I don't know. It's my little zebra. So
That
it's
is
just
awesome.
fun to have little stuffed I'm like a kid now. Like the perfect size stuffed animal is the most important thing post-op.
Awesome. All right. Well, Cori, Lakyn, if there's anything you want to add, now's the time. If not, we'll sign off.
Just once again, thank you again, Richard, for doing this. And I've had so much fun with y'all today. So it's awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, so that was part 2. We haven't come up with part 3 yet, but hopefully we will. We'll get that out as soon as we can. All right. Thank you. And I'll stop recording.